Damien in the loo. Enough poo, put Damien in the loo. Enough poo, put Damien in the loo.
So I'm here on the beach of Folkestone where there's been so many sewage releases and there's nobody in the sea today. There's sewage warning this morning. It's April and they're still pumping sewage out. There hasn't been any rain like yesterday at all. There's no reason for the sewage and there's just nobody in the sea. No, it's a lovely beach, completely wrecked with sewage discharges into the sea.
Absolutely nothing about this issue. In fact, he voted to allow sewage to be dumped in the sea. So shame on you, Damien, shame on you.
Shame.
Although the pressure is getting to him and to the other Tories, because today they've announced that they're going to talk about unlimited fines for water companies. Well, there's a lot of chatter because they know that there's council elections coming up. They know that a lot of people are really pissed off about this issue, so they feel like they've got to say something. Well, I'm telling you that unlimited fines are not enough. Those water companies make huge profits. They'll just suck it up. What we need to see are criminal charges for the buses. That will stop them. That's what we need. Okay, so without further ado, Tony Vaughan, who has been magnificent in the local Labour Party on this issue. I cannot tell you how much work he's done on this. And he's ill today. He's got proper flu, not just man flu, proper flu. He's really ill. Ibuprofen is propping him up. So make sure that whatever he says, you give him lots of Folkestone love.
Thanks very much, Bridget. Basically, I am being propped up on ibuprofen, so I'm only going to speak for about 4 minutes, and then we'll do a little photo behind the plaque that we've got, which is currently obscured by a hand towel, because that is perhaps a metaphor for what we want the people of Folkestone to do, to wash their hands of this MP that we've had, who is not doing any work on this issue at all. So we're all here because we care about our coastline and we believe that we have the right to enjoy safe and clean waterways, and being able to swim in this sea and paddle around is what makes the quality of life here so fantastic. But under this Tory government, the UK's seas have been used as a toilet by water companies who would rather use our bills for themselves and their shareholders than invest in a sewage system which protects our environment and safeguards our health. And we've got to the point where if you want to swim safely in the sea, you have to check online before you do it. And if you don't check, there is no way of knowing whether or not the water quality is dangerous. There's no warning system at all that's in place that is run by the government. I don't know if anyone saw Fergal Sharkey's report on Good Morning Britain the other day, which is where he was up in Whitstable and showed that there were sea samples, water samples from the sea, showing dangerously high levels of E. coli while people were swimming in the sea. And that's happening right across Kent and across the UK. This morning when I last checked, the sewage had been discharged into this sea here on this beach right now. And yeah, as I say, there is no way to have known whether or not that was the case or not unless you go online. So we've got to this system to this situation from years of cuts under the Tories. When Liz Truss was Environment Minister, she oversaw £235 million worth of cuts to environmental funding, and that included £24 million of cuts to monitoring services to monitor sewage levels, so companies didn't dump more sewage. And her idea was to let sewage companies monitor themselves. And after she finished office in about 2016, the levels of sewage being dumped into the sea completely skyrocketed from about 12,500 in 2016 to over 300,000 last year. And as we know, Damian Collins backed Liz Truss for the Tory leadership last summer, and that didn't end well for either of them. So this event is to unveil a blue plaque for Damian Collins, and the internet tells me that the blue plaque is a permanent sign installed in a public place to commemorate a link between that location and a famous person, event or former building on the site, serving as a historical marker. Well, we're not allowed to put up an actual blue plaque here, but we thought that Damian Collins was a perfect candidate for a blue plaque. And that's because, as Bridget says, he has shamefully voted against tougher action on sewage dumping. And here on this beach, we've seen what that has meant sewage in our seas, people being stopped from enjoying this beautiful treasure of a community beach, and actually hitting people's quality of life, because a lot of people need to swim in the sea and really enjoy swimming in the sea to feel good and to enjoy the environment. So that's the link. Sewage in the sea for another 15 years. And the Tory targets included an 80% reduction in phosphorus released by sewage systems by, wait for it, 2038. 2038, that's 15 years away. And why, you might think, have the Tories not been putting more pressure on water companies? Why are they not insisting on stricter deadlines so that more investment in sewage systems is put in? Why is Damian Collins so worried about criticising Southern Water? Why did he back Liz Truss when he knew that she defunded the Environment Agency? And the answer is that he thinks that the market will sort all of this out. He wants to preserve the water company's profits, and he is an apologist for poor regulation. He just does not believe in it. And he spins the same excuses as the water companies. So whenever it rains, we now get sewage in the sea. But that's not how it's supposed to work. Exceptional circumstances is the test, only when there's exceptional circumstances. But now, whenever it rains, that's the exceptional circumstance. It's a complete and utter joke. And I think, remember, it's not just about rain, because I don't know if you remember from last year, there was a sewage release on this beach in the middle of summer. It's scorching weather. It was a complete heat wave. No rain at all. And we still had a sewage release here. And why was that? Oh, it wasn't rain. It was a malfunction or a technical problem. But what happened about that? Nothing. And so, Southern Water, we have this water company that is the second worst performing water company in England and Wales. Yet, it paid £4 million in dividends to its shareholders last financial year. It paid its boss around £1 million per year. And it's controlled by an Australian investment bank that doesn't pay any tax in this country. A Labour government that would clean up the water industry. So well, what are we doing? That's what we're doing, because we want to make sure that the system is overhauled. The Shadow Environment Secretary last week, I think, said that he accepted that the system was not fit for purpose. A regulatory system was not fit for purpose, and Labour would totally overhaul that, as well as doing a number of other things like automatic fines, imprisoning water company bosses for serious defaults, and mandatory monitoring of sewage outlets. So look, under the Tories we have a system which is soft on the water companies, weak on regulation, and is not on the side of bill payers. And our Tory MP is helping to prop all of that up. So for that, we've got a blue plaque for him. And as you can see, it's, as I say, it's covered by a hand towel. And that, we hope, will signify the washing of this whole constituency's hands of Damian Collins, so we can have an MP that does actually stand up for the people who live here.